122Com Introduction to Algorithm, main coursework, April 2021. My name is Weekend Hong. My INTI student ID is P20012893, CUID 11323998. This is my video for Task 2, C++, question A. This is the question, Task 2, C++, question A. Write a function that will produce the following output based on the condition given. Using the while loop function, output my C++ for 5 times. Using the for loop function, output I love C++ for 8 times. Using the array function, sum up 6 integers value, output 322. Using the arithmetic operation, find average marks for output. Enter marks for test 1, 56. Enter marks for test 2, 67. Enter marks for test 3, 88. The average marks is 70. Total marks for this question is 15. And 1, 2, 3, 4. So there are 4 parts. This is my answer for the for loops question. So firstly, I've included IOStream using namespace standard and integer main. Next, there's an integer n which is equal to 0, and while loop, while n is less than 5, the program will display my C++ and continue in the next line through the end line, and the program will calculate a new n is equal to n plus 1 if n is less than 5. So firstly, n will be equal to 0 because n is here, n is equal to 0, so n is equal to 0, and 0 is less than 5, so the program will display my C++. Then the program will perform this operation. So n is equal to n plus 1, so n is equal to n is equal to 0, so I put 0 plus 1, so now the n will be equal to 1. So the program is here, and the program will enter back the while loops. Now n is equal to 1, 1 is less than 5, the program will display the second my C++ in a new line because of the end line. Then the program will perform this operation again, so n is equal to 1 here, 1 plus 1 is equal to 2, now n is equal to 2. So now our program will enter back the while loops, and n is equal to 2, 2 is less than 5, program will print the third my C++, then we'll perform this operation again, then n is equal to 2, 2 plus 1 will be 3. So program will enter back the while loop, n is now 3. 3 is still less than 5. Program will print the fourth my C++ in the new line. Then this operation will be performed again, n is equal to 3 plus 1, n will be equal to 4. program will enter back the while loop, n equal to 4, 4 is less than 5, the statement is true, the program will print my C++, the fifth C++. So this is the last one, because the question stated it only wants 5 my C++. Okay, but this operation will still be performed because 4 is less than 5, the statement is true, so this block of code will be performed. So n is equal to n plus 1, n is equal to 4, and n is equal to 4 plus 1, now n is equal to 5. So the program will enter back the while loop. Now n is equal to 5, and 5 is not less than 5, but 5 is equal to 5, equal to 5. So now this is no longer true, it's false. The program will return 0, will exit the while loop and return 0. So this is my explanation, and now I will run the code and we will see the output. This is the output. So there is 5, my C++, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So it's the same as the question. This is my answer for the question that use for loops. Firstly, these are the same as the previous question, the previous while loops question. So include IOStream, using namespace standard, integer main, and integer n equal to 0. Next, there is 3 statement in the for loop. So this is statement 1, n equal to 0, statement 2, n less than 8, and statement 3, n equal to n plus 1. The third statement will only be executed if the second statement is true. Next, the program will display I love C++ and line to allow the next output to be in a new line. Firstly, n is equal to 0, n is equal to 0, and 0 is less than 8. 0 is less than 8 means the statement is true, so the for loop, the program will execute the third statement in the for loop. So n is equal to n plus 1, n will be equal to 0 plus 1, now n is equal to 1. N is equal to 1, then the program will print the first out of C++. So, yep, now there's 1. Next, the program will repeat again because n is still less than 8, and the program can still continue. So now n is equal to 1, 1 is less than 8, n is equal to n plus 1, which is equal to 1 plus 1, which is equal to 2. And the program will display I love C++, the second. Now there's 2. Then the program will repeat again. So now n is equal to 2. 2 is less than 8. N is equal to 2 plus 1, which is equal to 3. And the program will display I love C++ again. So now there's 3. And again 3 is less than 8, n is equal to 3 plus 1, n is equal to n plus 1, which is equal to 3 plus 1, which is equal to 4. And now the program will print I love C++ again, and 4. Again, n is equal to 4. 4 is less than 8, and n is equal to n plus 1, which is equal to 4 plus 1, which is equal to 5. Program will print hello C++ and 5. So now that's 5 times already. Again, 5. 5 is less than 8. N is equal to n plus 1. 5 plus 1 is equal to 6. Program will print hello C++. So now that's 6. And again, n is equal to 6. 6 is less than 8. N is equal to n plus 1. 6 plus 1 is 7. Then program will print hello C++ again. Then so now that's 7. Again in the for loop, now n is equal to 7. 7 is less than 8. Then the third statement, n is equal to n plus 1. 7 plus 1 will be equal to 8. Oops, 8. And the program will display I love C++. Again, or the last time, because the question said that we only need 8. So now there's 8, and the program will still run again. Now n is equal to 8. 8 is not less than 8. 8 is equal to 8. So the second statement is false. Therefore, the third statement won't be executed. There will be nothing here. And the program will exit the for loop and return 0. So now I'm going to run the program and see what's the output. This is the output. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 I love C++. This is my answer for the question that used the array function to sum up 6 integer values to get the output 322. Firstly, include iostream using namespace standard and integer main. Next, this is the array integer, because the question asked for integer values, and this is the array name, which is 6 SIX, and this is the number of elements that the array can store, which is 6, because the question asked for 6 integer values, and these are the 6 integer values: 24, 10, 14, 4, 88, and 182. Next, integer sum equal to 0. This is to calculate the sum of the 6 integer values. And this line of code is also used to calculate the sum of the 6 integer values. There's a for loop that has 3 statements, which is statement 1, integer index equal to 0, statement 2, index less than 6, and statement 3, index equal to index plus 1. Again, the second statement must be true in order for the third statement in the for loop to be executed. Sum will be equal to sum plus 6 index. This is to get the element in the index. Both of these are similar. This is the array 6 that I've created earlier. This is to get the element through the index, and this is a sum. Sum is equal to 0. Firstly, I'm going to put I, short for index, is equal to 0. 0 is less than 6. The second statement is true, so the third statement will be executed. Index will be equal to index plus 1. 0 plus 1 is equal to 1. Index equal to 0, so this will be sum will be equal to sum. Sum is equal to 0 here, plus 6. Index equal to 0, so 0. So the program will get the element from the array that is called 6 and that is in index 0. So index 0. So these are the index 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So the array start with index 0, and index 0 has the element 24. 1 is 10, 2 is 14, index 3 is element 4, index 4 is element 88, and index 5 has the element 182. So index 0 will be 24, so 0 plus 24 is 24. So 0 plus 24 is 24. Next, the for loop will run again. Now index will be equal to 1. So 1 less than 6, the statement is true. Index equal to index plus 1, 1 plus 1 equal to 2. Now index is equal to 1, so sum equal to sum plus 6 index. Sum is 24 now. 6 index 1 because of here. Index 1 is 10. 24 plus 10 is 34. Then is 34, so the sum is equal to 34, and again program will continue the loop because this is true. Now I is equal to 2. 2 is less than 6, then the index will be index plus 1. 2 plus 1 is 3, so sum equal to 34 plus 6, index 3. Index 3 is 14, which is equal to 34 plus 14, which is equal to 48. Now sum is equal to 48, then again index equal to 3. 3 is less than 6. It's true. Index equal to index plus 1. 3 plus 1 will be equal to 4. Sum 48 plus 6 with index 3. I equal to 3. Index equal to 3. Index equal to 3 is 4. And 48 plus 4 will be 52. Then again, now index is equal to 4. 4 is less than 6. Statement is true. Index equal to index plus 1, which is equal to 5. Sum will be equal to sum, which is 52, plus 6, index 4. Because of this, index 4 is 88, and 52 plus 88 will be 140. Then the program will run again. I will be equal to 5, and 5 is less than 6. The statement is true. Then the program will execute the third statement in the for loop, which is index equal to index plus 1, which is equal to 5 plus 1, which is equal to 6. And sum will be equal to sum plus 6 index. Sum will be equal to sum, which is equal to 140, plus 6 index will be equal to 5. That is his one, 182, the last element. So 182 here. And 140 plus 182, you will get 322, yes, 322. But the program will still run again, will still continue run. But this time it will exit the loop because now I is equal to 6, the index equal to 6. And 6 is not less than 6. 6 is equal to 6. So the second statement in the for loop is false. So the program won't run the third statement in the for loop. So I score 6. And the program will exit the for loop and print the sum. Cout sum, which is this one, which is this. Sum equal to 322, but just this 322. And add 9 and return 0. So this is the answer that I've provided. And now I'm going to try and see whether it is correct or not. This is the output. Okay, 322. This is my answer for the program that calculate the average marks. Firstly, include IO stream using namespace standard and integer main. Next, there is 3 integer variables, x, y, and z. I use integer instead of float because the question doesn't have any decimal places behind. If I put float, then the program will display the output that has decimal places. That's why I use integer. Next, the program will display this instruction for the user to enter marks for test 1. Then the user will be able to input through this input function, cin, then the input will be assigned to the variable x, and it is repeated for enter marks for test 2, which is for variable y, and enter marks for test 3 is for variable z. Next, there's another integer a, which is to calculate the average marks. I just sum up the values given by the user, x plus y plus z, and then I just divide by 3, and that's the answer will be the value for variable a, integer a. And lastly, the program will display Cout the average mark is a, which is obtained from here after the calculation, and the program will return 0. So now I'm going to try and enter the input based on the question to check whether I have the same output. So start. TASK1 will be 56, TASK2 will be 67, and TASK3 will be 88. And the average marks should be 70, just like the question. The average marks is 70. So this is the output. 70. And this is my video for TASK2 C++ question A. Thank you.